way, was a minor league player in the White Sox.
That's right. I knew about. Yeah, right. Yeah, good minor league ball player, he said.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then, of course, you did several game shows and really have done all sorts of broadcasting. Did you enjoy doing the game shows?
Oh, I love the game shows. I really did, because you never knew what you were going to get, because they were not professional comedians. They were not acting. Most of them were just beautiful people wanting to get on a game show, and everybody left happy. I'll give you one example. One of the questions I was doing a show called Sale of the Century.
Oh yeah, sure, I remember that one.
One of the questions was, name something you need not go to the doctor to cure.
Okay.
Give me an answer, if you will, Doug. Be a contestant.
Oh, need not go to the doctor to cure.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'll say hunger or something.
Well, a headache.
Okay.
A nosebleed, and whatever. When I said to this woman, I started laughing. We had to stop the tape, but we kept it in there. I said, name something you need not go to the doctor to cure. She said, a ham. I started laughing. I said, you're right. You don't have to go to the doctor to cure a ham.
Very good.
But that's the kind of answers you got, and that's the kind of things that made so much fun out of game shows, because, as I say, everybody left the show happy, and that's what television ought to be.
I enjoyed when you also hosted To Tell the Truth. That was one of my favorite shows.
That was unbelievable. I mean, you learn from that. In fact, because of To Tell the Truth, I was part of that movie Catch Me If You Can, because we had that fella on.
Right.
And Tom Hanks played him in the movies. But we had all kinds of people on, and we had a great panel. Bill Cullen was a funny, funny guy. Peggy Cass, she could make you laugh by saying hello. And then Nipsey Russell would come on as a guest panelist, and he'd be doing his poems. And then Kitty Carlisle, she would add the elegance and the dignity that I guess most of us we didn't have. But it was a great show, great premise. I don't know why that show isn't continued. Change the name and put it back on, because you learned from it.
You really did. Of course, we just lost Kitty a few weeks ago, but very elegant woman. Yeah, you're right about that.
Lady.
I remember one episode you did. You were hosting, I believe. Everybody came out in disguise or something, and it wound up being your son. Do you remember that episode?
That was unbelievable. Well, first of all, Kitty's son, when he identified himself, she couldn't believe it, and I couldn't believe it, and I was ragging on her. I was, you don't even know your own, I can't believe you don't know your own son, and I was just laughing and having a good old time. And don't you know, when Gary Moore said, imposter number 3, please tell us who he is, and it was Joe Jr.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I could not believe it. Oh, we play it all the time. In fact, and it's also on those blooper shows all the time. That was really something.
Yeah, the Game Show Network.
The makeup artist did such a great job on both those kids. In fact, Joe went to the men's room, and the guy called security because he said there's a homeless guy up here. He had to go get Bruno Zerrato, who was the producer, to say it's okay. He's part of the show.
Yeah, the Game Show Network will run.
That was a great spot.
They'll run some of the old episodes on the Game Show Network, so that's where you get to see them. Wonderful television, and of course the Today Show. You did that, and you still do occasional spots for them. I mean, you really have done more than just baseball. I think the audience should know. I mean, you've been a truly all-around broadcaster, and I think that's you're one of the few people that has actually been able to do that coming out of sports.
Well, it's nice of you to say it, but I tell you, I've had a wonderful ride. The Today Show was the education that I really, one of the things I missed in life was going to college. I just couldn't go, and the Today Show was really my college education. First of all, it was sports in the beginning. Then they threw me in the deep water, and I was interviewing all kinds of people, and then being around the Hugh Downs and the Frank McGee's and Barbara Walters, and then Katie and I came back together. I came back, and then Katie stayed on. Frank Blair. Just great people, and it was a wonderful experience. I've had a good ride, Doug. I tell you, you never want it to stop, but I have no complaints. I thank the Lord for blessing me like that.
We always look, and it came across that you're having fun. I think that's the key to your success.
Well, that's the way it is with baseball.
Yeah.
It gets me, These pitchers, some of them, they pick up the rosin bag like it's incense, It's guys, have some fun with it. I mean, I don't say you have to be a clown, but play hard, give it the best you got, and enjoy it. But some of them worry too much about statistics, and we've gone technology crazy with the replays. I mean, you get 5 and 6 replays, and I always think of the great Kurt Gowdy when we'd have these production meetings, and the producer would come in and say, well, what's going to be our storyline for the day? And old Kurt would say the same thing every week. How about we just follow the ball?
Yeah, right.
And, boy, that's great television, because now they have keys to the game. Everything is sponsored. I mean, the Alltel directed a bullpen. How far did it fly? This and that. And you can't talk between innings now. You got to either watch Bernie Brewer slide down a big slide, or you got a race between hot dog, mustard, and relish. And then the music. Let me turn to the guy next to him and say, let me ask you something about that play. You know, people used to talk at the ball game.
Yeah.
You can't do that now.
You're right. I just went a few weeks ago. They had actually Don Zimmer night, but in between innings, there's all this stuff going on. You don't have a chance to talk to the person next to you about the game. That's the part of the fun, the conversation with the people with you, you know?
Well, you know, that you talk baseball.
Yeah.
I'm always, my wife and I call her McGraw. I said, would you run him, McGraw? I said, well, I don't know. I don't think so. I said, well, this guy can't run. Hits a ground ball. It's a double play. And then she'll say, well, what if he strikes out? It's still a double play, but if you keep him at first, or is he going to bunt? That's part of baseball, is managing and trying to figure out what the real manager's doing. You're not privy to, in a dugout, you know, like a lot of people say, well, he yanked the pitcher too soon. Well, you don't know. You can still say it, but you don't know. Maybe the pitcher came in, like I've heard many pitchers say, hey, I'm running on fumes, man. The first bit of trouble, you better get me some help. And that's why they make the quick hook. But today you got, it's just like a pitcher. He's got a two-seamer, a four-seamer, a sinker, a sailor, a cutter, a backdoor slider. It used to be he's got a fastball that moves. He's got a curveball. It's a tight curveball. It really snaps. Overhand curveball. Now they got all these MTV names.
Yeah.
And then you get statistics like Ben Sheets was leading the league, believe it or not, in most pickoff attempts, most pickoff throw attempts. That was it.
Yeah.
Will you tell me how that enhances your watching the game?
It's almost overproduced nowadays. You go back and you watch some of the games you did. They'll occasionally show those on ESPN Classic. It's almost surprising now how quiet the broadcast was. You know, you more underscored it rather than talk through the whole thing, which they tend to do nowadays, you know.
Well, when you got the crowd helping you, you know, and a no-hitter, I remember doing a no-hitter, Nolan Ryan against the Dodgers. Went into the ninth inning, I said, the three hitters are, named the hitters, and I said, the crowd will tell you what's happening as you watch. And with every strike, you'd hear a roar, and with the umpire calling it a ball, you'd hear, oh. And that to me is dramatic.
Oh, yeah.
That is dramatic.